Welcome to AniBreak, the show that breaks down the week's hottest topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and this week let's start off with some stateside anime news. Let's talk about Toonami. It's been about a year since Toonami came back on the air on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. I've been a big fan of it. I've been a big supporter of it. It's nice to have anime back on, on US TV, even though some of their content is kind of old, but still, I consider them to be classics. I'll still watch them sometimes if I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night. It's nice to be able to, just channel surf and then come across anime. It's cool. But since they've come back, they haven't really changed the lineup much. I mean, they started adding like Eureka 7 into the lineup, which is cool, but I was hoping for every 4 months they'll start tossing in, or just changing up the lineup a bit. I know Bleach is always going to, lead it, and I'm so far behind on Bleach, for me to try to attempt to catch up would be nigh impossible. For the sole fact, I think the last episode I saw was episode 109, and I think they're on 300 or 400 episodes by now. I can only imagine. But it's continuing on. But at MomoCon, they had a panel of the Toonami guys, and they talked about some changes for the upcoming lineup. First up, One Piece is making its return to the schedule. I'm actually a huge fan of One Piece, so I'm glad that's coming back. I'm sure you'll still get the classic. I'm guessing Inuyasha and Cowboy Bebop will still round out the end. They actually announced finally some new designs for the programming block host Tom, which is voiced by Steve Bloom. Since the relaunch, all they've been really using is upscaled versions of the previous content in order to save money. And I completely understand that. I mean, I don't think Cartoon Network wanted to throw too much money at Adult Swim or Adult Swim's Toonami block just because they want to make sure it's going to be popular first. It's been around for almost a year, so I guess they're trying to throw more money at it. You can go online and find some pictures that were tweeted of the new designs, but they're all blurry because someone took them on their shaky cell phone. So no official releases I've found yet online. They're going to change the set piece for the background, the Absolution, the ship that Tom's in. Updated visuals all around the board. I think that's kind of nice for once. And then they decided to talk about an upcoming movie. And I am very surprised they actually picked this one up. Probably some deal with Funimation. I'm not surprised. Toonami, the crew announced that this upcoming Saturday, during their block, they're actually going to show the first Evangelion film, 1.11, in its entirety. So, yeah, that's kind of nice. Now, granted, I mean, most of us have seen that before. I have the Blu-ray of it. But to be able to see that on TV, there's already a number of people who watch Toonami, some of the younger crowd, who have not seen it before, have not probably even heard of Evangelion. I'm sorry, they probably heard of it, but they probably haven't watched it before. And so to, jump on the chats while they're broadcasting this on TV, that's going to be interesting to see all the people, their reactions to it. It's one of those ways I see it. Ever get the chance where you watch a new series or movie or whatnot, could be anime or not, that you've hung out with friends, you've seen it before, but you find yourself still enjoying it because you can actually, watch the reactions of all your friends. I enjoy that. I know most of you guys do that as well. So I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. Does this mean that Toonami will probably show Eva 2.22 and eventually when it comes out 3.33? Most likely. But you can go on Funimation's website. They have a 2-minute trailer for it. Essentially, it's just it's the same trailer you used when they brought over the Blu-ray, but it's still nice to see. I've never seen it at AX years ago on the big screen, and that was just funny as hell watching it with 1,000 other people. So we'll see what happens. As far as the new looks for Tom and the Absolution, you won't be able to see that until April, so after around the year anniversary. Speaking of Eva, I had to throw this in here because I was like, of all the anime series that are incredibly popular in Japan, Evangelion has to have some of the more unique commercial tie-ins. Now, you always have, tie-ins with food and maybe with clothing or just a bunch of merchandise. Most recently you have Hatsune Miku teaming up with Domino's Pizza, which I think, if I remember correctly, they had 10 times the number of people actually order that they were expecting because of Miku's tie-in. But, hey. But let's go back to Eva. So there's been a number of tie-in merchandise, and this one, it's interesting. It is, it's promoted by a company called Queer Butte. I could be saying that wrong. And what they're calling this is the Cosmetic with Evangelion two-way fragrance mist. So essentially, the three main characters, the three Eva pilots, they're going to get their own perfume. And I look at this and going, only in Japan. Type R is aqua citrus. Type 01 is going to be musk. And type A is going to be red citrus. These are going to go for about $13 to $15. Now, I could expect this kind of tie-in if you were, working with a number of other styles. Maybe something more aligned to the female audience, like Rose of Versailles or something like that, which also had a fragrance tie-in, if I remember correctly. But Eva? Really? It makes you wonder just how many fans are actually going to order this, and how many of them are brave enough, if it's available, to buy in person. I will love to watch a camera in a store that sells this, just to see what the otaku tried to use an excuse for purchasing this. Kathy the Got says in the chat, maybe it'll smell like LCL. Maybe we'll finally realize what LCL smells like. All right. LCL would attract a Mari cosplayer, definitely, and several other people, yes. Let's move on to, let's talk about Ghost in the Shell. It is one of my top 5 anime of all time, and a few episodes back when they made the announcement and they finally had the press conference about the new anime project called Arise, and it was completely different from what I expected. It's more of a prequel to either the TV series or the movies. It's a 4-part OVA that's going to be also shown in theaters in Japan before it gets released on DVD and Blu-ray, which most likely means it's going to be a long time before we get it stateside. And I was always, okay, this could be interesting, and at least it's still production IG. The biggest gripe many people had was the character designs. This is, for the most part, you had some of the same character designs for some of the back characters, but especially Motoko. People were like, what the hell is that? And we haven't received much information since then. We were wondering, okay, now that we have the announcement and the press conference, when's the next time we're going to get some more information? Well, there's actually an upcoming manga that gives people a closer look at what the major is going to look like this time around. Now, this one, I'll just show the cover for you real quick. This one is going to be a 45-page insert in Gekkan Young magazine. And I will say this. Bato looks like a younger Bato. I completely understand that design. Is it just me, or even when you look at this, that Motoko looks a little more... I can't even say it says called realistic. But I would say it almost ties in with the same style you would get from Rooney Mara. You remember her as the hacker character from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, among with other movies as of late. They've already showcased a couple other scenes. I mean, the issue has already arrived in Japan, so I'm sure there's plenty of people who can go out and either import this. It shouldn't cost too much. Like I said, it is 35 pages long. It's kind of sad that even though they incorporated people behind the scenes that know so much about the Ghost in the Shell universe, Yet you don't, there's no tie-in, no help from the actual creator, the mangaka himself, Masamune Shiro. So I'm questioning, is this just a way to try to get people, calm down before the actual first episode comes out, to try to get people more accustomed to this new Motoko style? Maybe, maybe not. It could be just a cheap ploy to try to get more money. It is a tie into the upcoming series. And that's all I can say for right now. And like I said, most of the character designs I'm fine with. They look younger versions of themselves, Bato especially. I'm still not caught up on the major. I'm still not jiving with the new major style. But again, because she keeps on jumping from prosthetic body to prosthetic body, it could be, the one way you can look at it as this is her before she got her prosthetic, the version of her prosthetic body before either the TV series or the movies. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that. I'm guessing there's going to be a couple more chapters coming out, and we'll definitely bring more information as it comes up. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Z. We've all heard about Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. This is their upcoming movie. It's been a hell of a long time since the last movie. This one's actually being shown in theaters in Japan before it gets released on DVD and Blu-ray. Most definitely it's going to be picked up, and if it hasn't been picked up already, to bring stateside, probably in a relatively quick fashion. For fans stateside, this might be more of a nostalgia trip for the sole fact that a lot of us, were watching Dragon Ball Z when we were young. I know I was. But I haven't really watched it since. I haven't had the need or the urge to, collect the DVDs or Blu-rays. But I'll probably go see this movie, like I said, for nostalgia's sake. But then they made an announcement that was kind of surprising. So, Battle of Gods is going to be the first Japanese movie to be shown in IMAX. That's kind of crazy. The fact that, IMAX is still a growing bit over in Japan, and this thing is going to be so-called good enough to be shown on a, 10-story high screen? I look at this going, okay. That has to be either some massive, upscaling, or the quality is just that damn good, especially in the fight scenes. Because when it's on your TV at home back in the day, it's like about that big, so you're looking at it and going, okay, they can let things slide because I'm not looking at the minute details. This one, that's going to be interesting. Which begs the question, when Funimation picks up the license for this, if they haven't announced it already, and, recently they've been on this kick of bringing anime to theaters across the country for small bits of time, will they bring this one to IMAX? Because that will be an experience unlike any other. Because seeing anime on the big screen is already a cool experience enough. But then to see it on an IMAX screen would be, let's just call it unique. Let's say that. Okay, I have to show this new teaser trailer. I talked about this upcoming series, I should say, I want to say in January. It's called Class C3. It's an adaptation of a popular manga of a high school girls club that's all about airsoft. I only saw the designs before, and I was like, okay, this could be interesting. You know me, I'm willing to give any anime a shot, which I'll talk about that later on. And I haven't seen any animated footage of it. Well, we finally have the first teaser trailer, and we're going to play that for you right now. If anything, I like if that's gonna be like anything close to what the actual anime is gonna be like in terms of the style and the music. I'm all for it because it's happy-go-lucky. Um, I love, I'm a musician, so I love jazz. Um, I like the character designs a little more in these setups than anything else. If anything, like Nine Star says, it does look interesting. It's a teaser trailer. It got you hooked, at least mildly interested in checking out when the series comes out. I haven't heard anything yet of when or if any company has picked up the rights to it. Most likely, and I'm putting a bet on this, is that Crunchyroll is going to pick up, well, Crunchyroll will stream it on behalf of some other company. So we will see. It's very Gunsmith Cats like. Now, for those of you who have not heard of Gunsmith Cats or have not seen it, go watch it. You can find it. It's cheap to buy. I think maybe even the Anime Network is still streaming it. Go check it out. It is a ton of fun. All right. Let's jump over. Let's talk about guest of honor announcements. Now, last week I know we talked about Japan Expo USA's first announcement for their guest of honor. And I'm waiting for their second, third, fourth, fifth, however many they bring. I'm looking forward to it. I am excited to announce this, but I'm also bummed. I'm going to talk about SakuraCon again because their con is coming up in less than a month. It's the end of March 29th through 31st, up in Seattle. It is an absolutely fun con, great location. And they've already announced a number of incredible guests of honor. I mean, we're talking about Toshihiro Kawamoto, who is a former animator and president of Studio Bones. You have the directors of Psycho Pass. You have the creator of Sword Art Online, Riki Kawahara. You have some musical guests. They also announced two more guests. They have less than a month to go. I wonder if they're going to announce anybody else after this, but I don't think they need to. They already have an epic lineup. Let's start off with, oh, where's that? I had the image right here. There we go. Let's start off with her. This is Atsuko Ishizuka. She is most notably she's directed Chihara Furu, Maple Story, Nana, Top Secret, The Revelation. But most recently, she was the director of Pet Girl of Sakura-so. So if you've been enjoying that series, this is the director. I think that's pretty epic. I am a big, big fan. The last episode, oh, dem feels. That's all I got to say. So she's been working with Madhouse for years. So yeah, this would be an epic, add-in. To tie in with that, they weren't just, fine with announcing one more guest. They announced a second one, like I said. WIT Studio President Joji Wada. Now, if you remember, Studio WIT is actually a sub-studio of Production IG. They've worked on stuff like Psycho Pass, Robotic Notes, Sengoku Basara. Recently, they're working on both the Howl film and the Attack on Titan TV series. And this is the president of it. He's worked as a producer on Sengoku Basara, Psycho Pass, Robotic Notes, and a couple others. He has worked on a bunch of stuff with Production IG. And just to be able to talk to a president about a brand new studio, well, not brand new, I should say, but an up-and-coming studio that has the pedigree that this kind of studio has with the backing of Production IG, I think that's just epic. So if you guys are going to SakuraCon, maybe take a picture for me because I can't make it anymore due to my root canal. I can no longer afford it, so I won't be going to SakuraCon this year. Have to wait till next year, I guess. It was also announced, I think, from Anime Expo that Danny Chu's coming back as Master of Ceremonies. Regardless of what people think, I like Danny Chu. The times I've actually been able to sit down and talk with him, I've been to his house for crying out loud. I like what he does. He is very enthusiastic about what he does, and I give him massive props and respect for that. I might even give him a call and see how he's doing when he comes back down. So you guys can check him out at Anime Expo. I'll probably be there as well, walking around in the aisles as well. So let's This chart says in the fan, he's good with photos. Yes, he is. Okay. As Kathy the Goth says in the chat, he's kind of cute. I have a weakness for Asian guys. Well, I've met his wife, who is a deer. So, sorry about that. Okay. Let's talk about some video game news. I have talked about the DLC for the Scott Pilgrim game over and over and over again. This was supposed to come out, I think, like last October, and it's been pushed back so many times I've lost count. They had a trailer that came out that said, hey, it's gonna come out, I think in February. We have a date. It's all good. It's set in stone. At the last moment, they pushed it back again. I'm like, it's DLC for a download game that is classic, 8-bit, 16-bit style. I'd say more closer to 16-bit. And come on, how hard is it to code for this thing to come out? Now, all my whining about this could be coming to an end because apparently it's available today on the PlayStation Network. The DLC is priced at $5, $4.99. If you have PlayStation Plus, you get 20% off of that. So I'm not a PS Plus member, so I'm probably pay the $5. What you get with that, Wallace Wells is actually a playable character, so you can go through the entire game. And then the part that I was so excited for, because I love the old school style of games, this DLC makes the game online multiplayer. So probably after tonight's show, now that it's cool enough, I'll probably turn on the PS3, download this, and start playing. If any of you guys are interested, I'll tweet my my gamer tag or something like that. So, should be good. As the char, it sounds like you're quoting from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The other bit I want to talk about is a cute little app you can download. It's for iOS devices right now. No word yet when it's going to come out on Android, if ever. If you guys have been watching Psycho Pass, the weapon they use is, called the Dominator. And it's a pretty spectacular piece of equipment, what it can do. It's completely impossible to do, at least with today's technology. Essentially what it does is, the moment you pull the trigger, it's supposed to scan the person you're aimed at, check their crime coefficient, see if they're guilty of being able to commit a crime, their mindset. And depending on how high that coefficient is, it'll either set itself to stun you, to paralyze you, or to completely eradicate you. So it's kind of a cool design. I was hoping to, there's already some models out there you can purchase for a ridiculous price, but they still look epic regardless. But someone's actually created an app for it. And, I believe it's free. You have to do some searching though, because if you just try to look up Psycho Pass, you're not going to find it. You have to look online or look in the iTunes App Store and look for C-Scanner Free. Now, I believe there is a paid version that gets rid of the ads. And some ideas of what it does, like this person took a shot at some teddy bears. It will actually, scan based on the color of the thing you're scanning, place you're pointing at. And it'll detect the level. It could, go from stun to we need to eradicate you ASAP. So I like the mode selections. You have a couple different ways you can use this app. I said there is a free version, but of course you get the ads at the bottom. It's a fun little app. I've been playing around with it. It's kind of cute to read online about all the different writers' different scans. People have scanned everything from like their beds to figures to someone scanned a Miku Dakimakura and it said it needed to be exterminated. But it's a cute thing. There is a free version. Just look up on the iTunes App Store. All right. I think that's going to be it for this episode. Well, it's going to be kind of small. It's a bit of a slow news week. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode, especially you guys who join us live and talk in the chat. I always appreciate that. To remind you guys, this show is always on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Don't forget about the daylight savings time. That's just changed. And on Sundays, I also co-host a geek-themed show called From My Mother's Basement. So you guys are always welcome to come check that out. I had that with my co-host and good friend Michael Underwood. Always a blast. He's trying to get me to come down around his area again for an upcoming special at the local comic shop, Hypno Comics. Should be fun. But other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay tuned for post-show. And yeah, for AniBreak, I'm Jason. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.